Alright guys, so it's that magical time of the year again. As of today, the BFI London Film Festival has officially begun. Over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to bring you lots of coverage, plenty of early reviews from some of the big, highly anticipated films from the festival lineup. So if you don't want to miss any of those early reviews, be sure to click that subscribe button. If you want to stay up to date with all my thoughts, reactions, and early Oscar prediction theories, be sure to follow me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, those links in that video description down below. But right, enough housekeeping, it's time to talk about some movies. The first film that I'm going to be talking about is a bit of a treat. It's the gun-slinging western from first-time feature director Jeymes Samuel called The Harder They Fall, which is getting its world debut tonight at the London Film Festival, but it's also going to be on Netflix on November 3rd. I was lucky enough to catch this film this morning with a few fellow film vloggers slash YouTubers. You might recognize some of them from the photograph. I'll pop links to their channels in the video description down below. Please do help support their channels, guys, by watching their London Film Festival coverage, as well as subscribing to their channels. They're all doing fabulous work, making amazing content there. Please do support them. I honestly didn't know what to expect from The Harder They Fall. I'm not really a big fan of Western movies, but when I saw the cast list for this film, which features Jonathan Majors, Zazi Beetz, Regina King, Idris Elba, Lakeith Stanfield, and Delroy Lindo, I was like, alright, shut up, take my money, let's do this. And what did I think of it? I had a pretty good time watching The Harder They Fall. I did have a few issues with it, but I thought overall it was wickedly entertaining. Set in the Wild West, the film sees outlaw Nat Love, played by Jonathan Majors, assemble a team of cowboy allies to take down the deadly Rufus Buck gang in Redwood City. Nat has a vendetta against Buck, played by Idris Elba, and that's all I'm going to say about the plot. Let's talk positives first. Right away, I've got to say that I really enjoyed Jeymes Samuel's direction. This is his first time directing a feature film, so you might expect from a newbie to play it quite safe, but not Jeymes Samuel. He takes a lot of risks for a first-time director, and I'd say the majority of those risks pay off. I was a little worried during the first opening shootout scene that I was watching another Tarantino fanboy trying to emulate his style, but thankfully, after about 20 minutes or so, those concerns I had melted away. Samuel's style might be inspired by Tarantino, but he's definitely not a copycat. If anything, Samuel's style might be more out of the box than Tarantino's. He makes a lot of bold choices. You've got split screens, slow motion, gratuitous bloody deaths. You've also got a brilliant stare-down shot between Buck and Nat, which must have been done on like 50 feet of wires. Samuel also loves a reveal shot, whether it's for comedic purposes or for a grand entrance. Like when we finally see the hulking Rufus Buck for the first time, when he steps out of the captivity of his prison cell, the air and space around him literally concaves when he does this inhale-exhale. That was cool, but at times I did think he over-embellished a little bit. A little bit of refinement here or there could have gone a long way. But I still respect Jeymes Samuel for the confidence that he had in his direction. It's remarkably self-assured for a first time directing a feature film. Well done to him. As for performances, everybody is firing on all cylinders. And yes, pun very much intended. I don't have a bad word to say about anybody in this cast. This is a strong ensemble. But the standouts for me were Regina King as gassy Gertrude Smith, but she prefers it if you call her Treacherous Trudy. God, it's harder to say than you think. Treacherous Trudy. Regina King adds so many dimensions to what could have been a very generic supporting character. She manages to make a cold-hearted killer likable. How does she do that? Could she land her second Best Supporting Actress nomination for this role? I do think Regina King will be in the conversation for Best Supporting Actress, but I'm not so sure about securing a nomination. I also loved R.J. Cyler, who played Quick Draw Jim Beckworth, who's as fast with his mouth as he is with his pistol. Did that sound dirty? That guy has charisma to spare. And Idris Elba is a beast as the unpredictable Rufus Buck. It's a performance which is equal parts stoicism and fury. But what surprised me the most about this film was just how funny it was. Samuel co-wrote the screenplay with Jeymes Samuel, and there were several instances in the screening I was at where the audience were belly laughing. I won't spoil those funny moments for you, but I'll give you some clues to keep out for. Steak and Maysville. Okay? Now, when it comes to negatives, I will say that the beginning and ending of this film are ridiculously entertaining because they feature a lot of stylish, pulpy violence, but I did think the middle section of this film was a bit baggy. I definitely felt it slowed down a bit in the second act. Also, in the finale, there was a revelation from one of the characters which didn't work for me. This revelation didn't hit me emotionally like the scene was intending it to, but also, I just don't think the story really needed it. And lastly, I had difficulty hearing some of the dialogue watching this film. Now, I don't know if this was an issue with the film itself and the sound mixing wasn't done properly, or it could potentially have been the theatre that I was in because I was sitting in the Royal Festival Hall for the first time. I never watched anything in there, and maybe the speakers weren't set to the right standards or volumes, but yeah, I did have trouble hearing what some of the characters were saying, and that did take me out of the film a little bit, but when I give this a second watch on Netflix, I'll be able to assess if it was the theatre or if it was just the film itself. Hopefully it was the theatre, which is something I never thought I would say, but yeah. So let's ask them 3 questions. Firstly, would I watch this again? Like I just said, yes, I want to watch this again on Netflix, not just to hear if the sound is fixed, but because I genuinely had a good time with it. So yes, I will watch it again. Question 2, do I recommend it for you guys? Yes, and that's coming from somebody who doesn't really like a whole lot of Westerns. The action scenes were awesome, the characters were well written, the contemporary choice of music really gave the film a lot of swagger. I also found it to be more funny than anticipated. The costumes and sets were great, and it's also very colourful. It's an accessible Western with a top-notch cast, and the beauty of this film is you can watch it at home on Netflix. But I will say, if you can see it in a cinema, it will be better appreciated on a bigger cinema screen because some of the cinematography in this is stunning. So yes, I do recommend it. And third question, what score do I give it out of 10? I had a lot of fun watching The Harder They Fall. It's an exciting debut for Jeymes Samuel. I would like to see more of his work in the future. I do think the middle section of this film had a bit of a pacing issue, and also the revelation at the end, I don't think it needed it. But it was a great start to the London Film Festival, and also where Samuel left us with the characters, he's left things open for a potential sequel, and I would happily see a sequel to this. So I'm going to give The Harder They Fall a score of 7 out of 10. But as always, guys, it's just one bloke's opinion. I would love to hear your thoughts on The Harder They Fall. Let me know what you think of this movie in that comment section down below. Help support my channel by hitting that thumbs up button or by hitting the subscribe button. And if you want to follow me on any of my social media, Twitter, Instagram, all those links in that video description down below. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. For more things related to movies, TV, and popcorn culture, I'm Lakeith, and I'll see you next time.